So, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Let's hope now me and Jeff, we are going to get online to make this video great. Thank you so very much for everybody joining our TV show. And today we are going to be talking about the value of support. Why the value that we get from external people is important for us. Why do we have to get other people approval in order for us to be better, to increase our potentiality and to be more that we already are? Because we are influential beings and we become one with the environment that we are placed on, right? So that's why it's very important for us to understand that we become what our parents are most of the time, and therefore we become what our friends are, and therefore we become what our teachers or whatever we see, hear, and feel. So we're still waiting for my guest. Oh, it's really awkward. This Facebook nowadays. It's really difficult to do a live. I don't know. Facebook, give us a hand. Make it easier, right? So if I posted the live with the person that is going to be this live, why they didn't automatically bring it in? Do I have to make Facebook great again? Oh my God. Yeah, so I was telling you that we become what we hear and feel and see around us. So for this reason, society nowadays are kind of creating monsters, and some of us get to a point that it's really difficult to not be sick mentally or physically. And I need some drink. How important is for you the value of support? What's the impact that your environment have on yourself? Mama, hello. Okay, we are looking for Jeff Rounds, Reverend Jeff Rounds. We'll be waiting for him. Hopefully he will show up. And the value of support is extremely important, as if we have no support, we have no help, no growth, no expansion, no creativity, no. It's very important, the value of support. Thank you very much. Sahajad Khan Kunu. I apologize if my pronunciation is the right one. I'm still waiting for my guest, Jeff Rounds, to get on. I think today is one of those days that we're not really fully prepared for this interview. I apologize, it's my fault. And Tomislav Kablarik, thank you so very much, sir. We are still waiting for our guest, and today we are going to talk about the value of support. People that going through hard times, people suffering of depression, people suffering of addiction, stress, suicidal thoughts or anxiety are the ones that need the most our help. So for this reason, we are going to Mr. Alexandru. Hello, sir. We are going to delve into the mind of Mr. Jeff Rounds that is not coming yet. We're still waiting for him. Let's hope he will get here with the speed of light and to talk about the value of support. Why the support is valuable for human being. Why do you think that? What do I think is because we are influential beings and we love to live in communities, in tribes. We love to stay connected to other beings. And imagine yourself sitting still in a prison, in a cell. Jeff, thank you. Finally, let's how I'm gonna invite you now. Can you make the request, please? Can you make the request? Do you have any button there so you can make the request? Thank you very much. Yeah, I can bring Taibe. Hi Taibe. I can bring Taibe in, but I can't bring Jeff. I am only PC. Send me. Allow your viewers to request to join you as a guest. Why doesn't allow me, Jeff? Doesn't allow me to send you the request. This is incredible. It's like the devil is right in the middle of the us. There is no tag for myself to join yet. Yeah, I can give you a like. I can reply you. How can I make you this request? And I had this problem before, and still the problem on, and I don't know. I have here a button, is more whiter. I have here a button, invite. So I have the invite for everybody. Now invite friends to watch. Invite friends to watch. I go on yourself. Yeah, it doesn't allow me to send you the request. Jesus, thank you for everything you have given us. Thank you very much for your kindness, for your support, for all the good things that you have sent. Oh, yes. Yes. Finally. Please. Please, connecting. Oh. Oh.
Crazy. You know, next time we'll have to test this first.
Yes, you know the funny stuff is that very soon I have to go and pick up my daughter, you know?
Oh my.
But I will
Oh
do
my.
all my best to stay as long as possible so we can have a little chat, and for sure we can even agree to have another longer interview in the next few weeks, whenever it's right for you. So, Jeff, thank you very, very much for your kindness, for your time, and thank you for being with us. It's an honor and a pleasure. And I made you already the introduction, the private video. However, now it's a new start. So let's wash out the past and start something new. So for those that are going to watch live or replay, Supernatural's Journey, it's a show that it's about expanding consciousness and inspiring people and motivate them to be more, to get out of the chains of society and conditioning, and to offer you the tools and the vehicle for you to be a better person, to evolve. And Jeff, he is an omnis reverend. Honestly, I don't know what that means. I try to do a research, but I would like to know from you. Jeff is a Buddhist philosopher. I love Buddhist philosophy. I think it's great going 2,000 years back in time and and understand how humanity at that time. And you are a counselor into helping people from anxiety, depression, addiction, and suicidal thoughts.
Correct.
Yes. So, Jeff, welcome. Thank you for your time. And yes, tell us a little bit who is Jeff Rounds right now.
Well, omnism, to answer your first inquiry, is the belief that there's truth in all religions. So our expression is that we seek the truth in all religions, but commit to none. I was originally Christian, and then I continued to study all forms of world religion and philosophy. And as far as who as I am now, well, this is kind of who I am. I'm hoping to launch a career in guiding people through, as you said, ego boundaries and realizing their true potential.
Okay, great. So between being a reverend, is it like you have a church where you're going? It's something like you have relationships with people that are searching for help, and you offer them this kind of counsel.
Yeah, just the online community. In the United States, you do not require lengthy schooling to become a reverend. You can just register if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
So, uh, I feel I'm qualified based on my research of all the different religions, and there are no other omnist reverends that I'm aware of. I think I may be the first.
Well, maybe I will apply as well because I've been always said by people around me, "Oh, you should be a priest. You should be preaching." And I think my mother always wanted me to be a priest. However, uh, not yet. Um, yeah, it's great. What about? Tell me a little bit what other things you do than being a reverend.
Well, I attend 12-step recovery, and through that, I've collected a handful of people who come to me as a sponsor. I would sponsor them, help them understand the 12 steps of recovery, talk to them when they're having difficulty in their recovery, and I also, counsel a lot of people online. Facebook has introduced me to so many people, and a lot of people approach me when they're having some type of issue in their life and they're looking to get to the next level.
What kind of is this 12 process? Is a system implemented, created by you, or you are being inspired from all different areas that you think are the right strategy for human being to heal themselves?
Well, 12-step recovery was created many years back by a couple gentlemen, and they created this organization called AA, or Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, I know
Now,
exactly.
now the 12 steps from AA have then been branched off and used in over 100 different types of recovery. And most of it is addiction related. Uh, but really, the 12 steps of recovery can work for anybody. And there's meetings that you can go to and participate in open share where, you know, this is where we really need the support, is being able to talk about our problems with other people who have experienced them.
Totally. I presume you know a gentleman named Frank Bushman.
Afraid not.
Yes,
Frank, no, I don't think I recall it. Frank Bushman?
he is the one that set up, was one of the creators of AI, Alcoholic Anonymous, back
Oh, really?
in early 30s, I think,
Well, I'm
1933.
not in, I'm not personally in AA. I'm in a different 12-step group called Al-Anon. and that's for the friends and family of recovering addicts. But there's also Bill W. and Dr. Bob wrote most of the original program.
Okay, so what is the process of this 12 steps of recovery? It's more meetings. How does it really works?
Well, the 12 steps recovery, the very first step starts with I am powerless over alcohol and my life has become unmanageable. And in other programs, they'll say I'm powerless over eating, over drugs, whatever their addiction is. But it's the whole point of the first step is admitting powerlessness. Because when we surrender, then we're open to new thinking. And going to meetings and admitting that I'm an addict, um, it's a very healing process. But it requires that, I do surrender and accept that my ways didn't work and I need to learn something new. Beyond the first step, we have steps we call inventory steps to help us get to know ourselves and help us resolve resentments and past issues and make amends for the things that we have done during the time that we weren't healthy. And then finally, the last step of recovery is to give it back. Once I've benefited from this program and growth, then it's my turn to help somebody who's new to the program and kind of show them the ropes and help them heal.
Okay, yeah, I think it's an incredible wide market. Addiction, if you go globally, I think there are about 1 billion people smoking, probably more than 1 billion people drinking,
Oh, yeah.
drugs, sex. What other addictions are apart the one that I mentioned?
From what I can see, you could literally become addicted to anything. Uh, you might have a thing about craft scissors
Yeah.
and decide you love craft scissors and it's part of who you are, and now you've got this huge wall of fancy scissors, and you know to some degree that's fun and exciting and acceptable, but what part of your life are you missing out on because of your obsession with scissors? So
Okay.
really, we as humans can become addicted to anything in this material world.
Okay, okay. So what has to be the best life? What should be the balance to
Yes, good question. Um, from what I can tell, the balance started 2,000 years ago with the Buddha saying that
mm,
attachment is the root of all suffering. Balance is learning how to detach from things, learning to let things go, let let go of ideas I have about myself, and let go of ideas about how my life is supposed to be at this point. Because acceptance is the key to all personal growth.
how many Buddhists you think are in the world?
I couldn't tell you. It would probably be in the millions. I know that it's one of the more popular religions. Christianity is first, Islam is second and growing, Hindu, and then I think Buddhism falls in right after that.
I haven't really read a lot, but when I read a quote about Buddha, is like making me feel like flowing, like it's like set free my soul. I've grew up into a Christian Orthodox religion, and myself, I'm originally from Romania, and in our country we have 3 times more churches than schools. And for
Yeah.
this reason, I think, and the church is under the government, right? They have everything. It's the connection, no? And everything that is connected with the government, it might be a little bit infected with some of um, black spirits. So
Mm.
how is what is the level of addiction, for example, in United States? Because I think is quite high.
Well, I would imagine that we're one of, if not the highest level of addiction in the world, because we have so many things to be addicted to. Um, and also the medical industry is kind of limited in what they offer people for solutions. Basically, you have surgery, physical therapy, and pills. So for most things that the doctors can't handle, it's here's some pills, and that creates a lot of addicts. We have an extremely high opiate addiction in the USA.
Um, what do you think, for example, a person that really is confident that wants to change, um, how long um, would take to that person to get out of addictions?
Well, let's say it's a chemical dependency.
Chemical,
Chemical depend, yeah, chemical meaning alcohol or drugs.
yeah.
Uh, these types of recovery, basically, it takes about a year before you really start to pick up on it. It takes a year of being involved in some type of recovery before you just start to become yourself again. And then the journey begins. First there's breaking the attachment to the substance, and then there's breaking the attachment to all the behaviors that caused you to want to escape in the first place.
That's very funny because I kind of think that I've been quite addictive to different substances and alcohol and coffee and cigarettes and sex and but what I notice is that you are not able to just escape straight away. You have to go in, go back, in, out. And it's really, really a process of keep standing up and fight and fight and fight.
It is and it isn't. There's this key. There's a formula. There's actually
Okay,
a
let
very
me write
simple
it.
formula. You ready?
Yes.
Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Denial,
Anger,
anger,
bargaining,
bargaining. Yes,
depression,
yes.
and then acceptance.
Okay, so you have to practice them continuously.
You have to become aware of them. The thing is,
Awareness.
most of us are in denial about something, and when someone is in addiction, they're in denial of themselves. They're attached to this idea that they cannot live without the substance. Okay?
Yes.
So to break that attachment, you need to go through the grieving process and surrender. When I finally admit I can't do it, my ways are ruining my life, I need to give up. When you're willing to give up, now you're open to learning a new way. If you're not willing to change your behavior, you'll just, like you said, keep going in and out of addiction over and over and over.
Yes. Um, like even right now, I have this kind of sense like being drinking every day. Now I have a sense, even in the morning now, like 10, 11, I have a, it's like I miss to keep something on my hand and to drink, you know. I
Yeah,
drink water, but water has no taste. I go and make some coffee, but coffee is like doesn't give me an emotion that I have to, feel a bit dizzy.
yeah.
So what is like the brain is asking for it, is like craving. How does this system work?
Well, it's on many levels. There's a conscious level that where we basically talk ourselves into using again, and then there's the chemical dependency where our body seems to want to feel that way all the time, and then there's the subconscious level where things are happening in the background. life that just the subconscious mind wants to escape what your situation is. And unfortunately, especially like with alcohol, alcohol is a depressant. So you drink to forget, and then when you stop being drunk and you're awake again, you realize, well, I still feel crappy and I still have all these problems. So you drink to forget, and it
Yes.
becomes this shame cycle, and that's what we do. Our addictions are all shame based, and they are reasons or they're means for us to escape.
Okay, so the thought that came up into my mind now, I think the direction that society nowadays is heading is like is like that. You see?
I do.
Because once, like, imagine what was in the 50s with the cigarettes, right? They were promoting them on media. That's
Yeah.
really totally unacceptable. And how many deaths they create. Boom, loads. Alcohol, which is a more dangerous substance, which is the cheapest drug in the world, how come is totally legal in probably in all of the countries nearly?
Well, I'm not sure that the government is the one who's supposed to fix this for us. Um, Legal or not legal, people tend to use what they want to use,
Yes.
right? You know, uh, I do see that there's a contradiction with certain things being legal and alcohol, being legal, and then other things that are healthier for you not being legal. But it's really about the individual because not everyone will become an addict. This is something that we learn in our childhood. The addictive
Mm,
behavior starts in your childhood because you've been exposed to other people who have addictions, you know, and addictions don't, they mutate. Perhaps your father was an alcoholic, but
yes.
then you're OCD, you're addicted to order in your life, or maybe you're addicted to food. It's all about the escape. It really doesn't have that much to do with the substance itself. The key factor in all of it is wanting to escape.
Yeah, because actually, yeah, my father still now he's an alcoholic, right? He's 62 years old, but he's still an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I might got a little bit from it. However, I think my level of consciousness is quite strong and is coming up on the surface, knocking on my head. Sergio, what are you doing? Where you are heading?
Right.
So
Well, you're doing great.
thank you very much, appreciate it. And again, my father was a compulsive gambler. I
Mm-hmm.
was for 17 years. All the money that I made vanished. 17 years. When I think now back, it's like, wow, I don't think was me that person. So what do you think make us change apart pain sometimes? You think is possible to change avoiding pain?
Yes. And the key is again, this is where the title of the show comes in. This is about support. Um, the cure for a lot of this stuff is confession. The more I go to a meeting and stand up and admit I have this condition, I have chemical dependency, I am dependent on people's approval, I am addicted to whatever. The more I'm able to openly admit that, the less power it has to control my thoughts and behavior. I'll always be an addict, but right now I'm not using. You see what I mean?
Yes.
You know, and the power of support and confession, it really makes a big difference. And like I said, when it hurts enough, we do something different. So pain is often the motivator, but sometimes it can just be you're ready to change. You're just tired of feeling crummy, and you decide, you know what? I'm just going to let this go. I'm just going to let this behavior go so I can feel better about myself.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, for example, myself, for all my life, I kind of woke up about 2 years ago when I started to learn and understand about myself, and go and learning left and right about what can I do to become a better person. Um, have you, because you've told me that you were in a depression uh, period of your life. What made you get out of there?
I hit bottom.
You hit a bottom
I hit bottom.
very
Yeah.
hard.
Yes. And not just once. Not
Oh,
just once. And every time I hit bottom, I surrendered. I gave up. And that's where you really win the battle. You know, you win the battle against yourself when you surrender. And, uh, you know, it's very humbling. It's humbling, and it just automatically makes you a better person when you own and accept your own personal faults.
yes, totally. Being humble, I think it's a virtue to have and live by, because when you interact with a person, there is nothing more like attracting than energy of humbleness and service. You know, it's great when you see a kind soul expressing in front of you. You just want to like to love it. And so, okay, why do you think us people with that suffers need support?
Well, again, the suffering has to do with your attachment. So, being able to talk to somebody about your problems, and you know, there's different directions you can go. There's traditional therapy that was very helpful for me to a degree. There's recovery meetings, 12-step meetings, group therapy for all kinds of different conditions. And then there's also, um, in between that, we have something called peer support recovery, which is a growing industry. And I think you're going to see a lot more of this. People who, like you and I, who've gone through struggles, once we've gone through them, then we want to help others go through them as well.
Yes,
You know,
totally.
because there was so many wonderful people there for me when I was at my worst that helped to guide me through. You know, I feel kind of a karma obligation to return what's been given to me.
Yeah, totally. The same I sense it, because I think that one person kind of inspired me the most, and what he told me is that he has a gift, and that gift pass it to me, and he will help me nurture that gift that I have from him, and he just want the ripple effect, then me to go and help other people. And you know, in this direction, I kind of tend to navigate. And it's great as I've learned from one of the greatest spiritual teachers, um, Dr. Wayne Dyer. He said that it's um, nothing is more important than the legacy that you give and the service that you offer to other people. So I think he has a great impact in my life. And yeah, I believe that we are a sort of spirit in a body, a sort of filter, that we just take something good and we just replicate it uh,
Yeah.
to some other people. What is your mission um, from now on?
Well, my mission is to continue to do things that allow me to feel better about myself and be an example of a healthier person to the people around me. I hope to do that on a world stage sometime because I'm completely comfortable in front of a crowd. I spent several years as a mobile disc jockey entertainer. Uh, so being on stage is, I'm accustomed to it. And I just hope that there's something in my message that can help other people.
Yeah, I think support it's fundamental because um, if you got into a situation where you're in trouble, the only way to get out, as Albert Einstein said, um, in order to solve a problem, you need to change the level of thinking. So if you have X mind to solve a problem that is X plus 1, you can't use the mind of X. You need a plus 1. So that's why is the value of the support that can um, offer you. Um, have you read any book?
Oh yeah, and you know, you mentioned Dr. Wayne Dyer, and that was interesting because he's omnist as well.
Oh, I love
If
it.
you've ever watched one of his presentations, you know, he'll quote the Tao Te Ching, he'll quote the Bhagavad Gita, he'll quote Rumi, he'll quote Jesus. He studies all those different world religions and philosophies too. And you know, there's always something beautiful, peaceful, and helpful about any religion,
Yes.
at least that I've researched. I'm sorry, what was your other question though?
Was about how to. I've got. So I just started to think about Dr. Wayne Dyer because, like, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
so happy that I have read about probably about 10 books of his, and I know, yeah, it's great to pick up the good ones and to not attach to a particular religion when you can pick little things from other places. And the same I am myself. I just I don't focus on one person to study. I just go and pick up little bits and pieces that I think that resonate with the actual world we're living, with the problem that we're facing. And the question came into my mind is about the book. We haven't um, spoken about the book.
oh, my book.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I wrote a book.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
actually, I do have a copy here. The Enemy Within.
Ah, yeah, because I
And
read. Okay.
yeah, now this is very much along the lines of what we've been talking about.
Hi,
I
Madina.
combined, I combined 12-step recovery and Buddhist philosophy. They go hand in hand. As a matter of fact, Buddhist philosophy fits into any religion because it's a philosophy. There's no God in Buddhist philosophy. It's, you know, it's about how to live. It's about the basic nature of humans and how they interact and how we become attached to things. And you know, these spiritual concepts, I encourage people to practice whatever faith they have. Just be open minded to other things. You know, you don't have to challenge your own faith in order to consider somebody else's.
Well, yeah, that means to get into conflict, and I think is the best always to avoid a conflict. Collaboration is better than the conflict. So when you've wrote the book, is it
I wrote this about a year and 3 months back. I finished writing it,
okay?
and it was after I had what some people call a dark night of the souls, where I had just completely surrendered. I was really depressed. I was feeling suicidal. I was ready to just leave this world. But I finally just gave up and said, look, I can't do this. You know, I need your help. And from that point forward, I began my spiritual journey anew. But what I learned from the Dark Night of Souls allowed me to recover enough to let go of most of the depression that I had experienced throughout my life. And so I wanted to share that with people. You know, I put it into a short recovery guide. It's only 80 pages, but it covers a lot of material. It gives you the basic formulas to go from state of depression to starting to feel better about yourself and heal and find some kind of direction in your life.
Okay, so we got some comments here from my friend Taibe, said alcohol
Mhm.
is more dangerous than cigarettes, and how many drink drive. It's best not to start anything addictive is the solution. Um, we need to be on a different path than your dad. All about being strong-minded and willpower. You're doing great, Sergio. Thank you very much. Confession helps. Addictions numb pain. And yes, those who hit rock bottom are the winners. Our past life has humbled most of us.
Yeah, yeah, all very true. Um, rock bottom is where it begins.
Yeah, it's the start of a new life, I presume.
Yes, yeah. For many people, it takes courage to change. That's the hardest thing. Is people are so filled with fear, they want to cling to the things that they think are working for them. But until you start to get honest with yourself, you don't recognize that a lot of your behaviors are really hurting you. And, that's what denial is. Denial is the lie that you tell to yourself first and then everybody else.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I think so. How can we destroy fear? How can we take fear?
Uh, it's not meant to be destroyed, it's meant to be felt. You feel the fear and you push through it anyway. And that's what courage is. It's not an absence of fear, it's being able to accept the fear and still make the right choice.
Because I think would be great to have this kind of shop instead of having a bar, fish and chips, or betting shops. We should have courage shop. You get in, you get some courage, you get some teaching, learnings, or you do a sort of meditation, and you get happier. But instead, we have this kind of shops. When you get on a high street, you see only coffee, only pubs, restaurants, only things. Well, this is market. This is capitalism, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just the nature of industry. They know us better than we do. They're going to provide things that make us want to purchase them. You know, it's their job to make money. So here's a bunch of stuff that we can make money with, and they keep track of all those statistics very carefully. They know what you want better than you do. So I can't hold an industry accountable for my well-being. I need to choose healthier patterns. And it would be great if there was wellness shops that you could just stop by and maybe get you know, a smoothie and some kind of nature food, and make some healthy dining choices, and then be able to connect with somebody that can guide you. That seems plausible, but I don't think we're quite there yet as a society. I don't think people recognize the need for it because they're too busy being addicted to things. So
Well, Jeff, let's trust the universe that all we need is a sort of Elon Musk guy. And you see him, right? You see the
yeah,
Mars, the planet, right?
gotcha.
Yeah, so we don't really need a lot to build up something great. All you need a few minds that work together collectively, and we co-create easily. All we need is the will and the hard work in and love and passion. This is all we need. So before ending up, because I think we are getting closer to this part, um, what is the impact that you want to have in the world?
You know, I hope for a lot. I feel that I've learned a great deal in the past 3 years. Been through some very difficult times, and I got through them, and I'm starting to put my life back together. I'm starting to feel like I have purpose. And I just hope that I can reach enough people. Um, I just hope to reach more people. I don't want to put a limit on it. I don't want to put an expectation on it. I just hope that my message has value.
Yeah, I this is my mission as well, to reach as many people as possible. Yeah, great stuff. Well, it's not um, for nothing that I keep being told that, Sergio, what do you think becomes your reality? Whatever you think, those kind of people you attract in your life, you know? So this is really how come I get to meet people that they have the same purpose and calling like me. It's amazing.
Yes, it just sort of happens because, initially I had met Dean Twerdy, and Dean introduced me to Muhammad, and Muhammad introduced me to you, and it just seems to be growing. So I'm
Yeah.
completely comfortable with
I really felt the energy on my shoulders about how every little thing that happens in our life has an emotional impact maybe, or something transformative is changing. And yes, this is just the start. We can't really predict what is going to happen in the future, but I have a strong sense that in my life, in my reality, and those that are close to me, things that we have never experienced are going to happen. So, what is your definition of greatness?
it. Greatness. I have no words for that. I don't. I can't. I think that it would be great if I was able to help just one person. Um, but I suppose, maybe greatness and success are kind of the same things. To me, success is a feeling
Yes.
of completeness, and
Mm,
it has very little to do with the stuff that I have around me. It just feels like I'm doing the right thing. I'm inspired. And if I could live an inspired life,
mm.
to me, that would be greatness.
Yes. And that inspiration comes from this infinite space that is, imagine the space from your location to my location. We are probably 4,000 miles away, and all that
Hmm.
space that we have, we don't know. Well, I think I know what is built, but it's not visible, right?
Yeah.
And if you go up, you look up, there is infinite, and everything is invisible, as is our spirit, our words, our thoughts. It's, yeah, it's, and especially to be alive in this moment of history in humanity, it's, I mean, there is nothing that we can ask more.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of changes in the next 100 years, whether we want to or not. So I'm hoping to be one of the positive changes.
Okay, what are the truths for you that you live your life
Truth,
by? Three truths.
three truths. Honest but kind, humble but confident, and community service.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, so thank you so very much, Jeff. I need to go and pick up my daughter, and
Very good.
we're gonna talk in private to arrange another talk to be a little bit more less tension, because timing with kids, maybe that you have to have certain hours to go and pick them up and look after them. And thank you so very much for your time. And
Thank you as well.
I see you next time. Thank you, everybody watching. See you on the other side.
Yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Bye bye.